not sure when I first saw a set for the Insectoids theme, but I instantly fell in love with the aesthetic and wanted to get my hands on one of these sets to see it in person for myself. And I finally got one. So let's take a closer look. So the Insectoids theme brought us a total of 18 sets across 2 years, 1998 and 1999. In my revisiting the Life on Mars theme, I called Life on Mars the last of the great classic space themes. And if that is the last of the great classic space themes, this is the second to last. It was Insectoids, followed up 2 years later by Life on Mars, and then there was nothing until Mars Mission in 2007, which is pretty wild. This set here, 6919 Planetary Prowler, was introduced in '98, retailing for $35, which adjusted for inflation is more like $60. So Planetary Prowler, hard to say fast. So Planetary Prowler is actually one of the larger sets of the wave, which would be expected for that inflation-adjusted price of $60. What you see here is 250 pieces. Not a lot of pieces, but it's some pieces very effectively used and some very large, very specialized pieces. Let's take a look-see at these minifigures because they are really quite noteworthy. This guy here is referred to as a Gigabot. He's actually included in 6 sets, so he's relatively common. You can pick him up for about $5 used and $9 new, which is not that bad. The Gigabot is really something special. We've got leg printing, first of all, in '98, which is not all that common of occurrence, I can imagine. Obviously, the standout here is that trans-clear classic helmet. It just gives this such a unique look. The prints are great. The prints are shiny, as you can see. As common as he is and as affordable as he is, this is a really impressive figure. Our second figure, the Zotaxian alien, isn't as remarkable, but there's a lot of cool things going on here. The torso print is quite fun, again, featuring some of that metallic printing. He doesn't have any printing around the back, but he does have air tanks, and it's really cool to see that helmet piece. So this helmet was actually introduced with this theme. It would go on to be used in the Alpha Team sets and repurposed in 2 other colors as well. Overall, he's a cool figure, just not quite as awesome as the Gigabot. It's such a common figure, just done really, really well. These are the only 2 figures included in this set. For such a large set, would have been nice to have gotten a third. Not much I can do about it now, 24 years later. Let's get on to the vehicle itself. I am by no means an Insectoids expert, but my understanding of the theme is that the Zotaxians had to leave their homeworld and travel to another planet, a planet crawling with massive insect-like creatures. And in order to blend in, they created their own vehicles that resembled insects. Of all the Insectoid sets, I think this one most successfully resembles an existing insect, a locust, cricket, grasshopper-like thing. And I think that's why I was drawn to this kit more than some of the others. It looks like an Insectoid. It lives up to its name. It's really a quite fun concept, and I don't think they pushed it enough with this theme, as a lot of the vehicles are generic flyers, and they don't look like a specific insect. And the win of this set is that it is recognizably a locust-like creature, and that makes it so much more fun and interesting, I think. The most obvious feature of this, of course, is the suspension on the back legs, immediately recognizable with these giant spring pieces. It's a really fun mechanism, or a really fun concept. It doesn't play out all that amazingly when these other wheels are fixed. Even though it's not as effective as I think I wanted it to be, it's still a cool feature, and it just makes so much sense to have those springy back legs. There are 2 smaller sub-assemblies included in this vehicle. In the front section, you can push these apart to reveal this really cool looking thing. Could not tell you exactly what this is meant to represent, but it seems to be a battery of sorts harnessing the power of these crystals, which we'll take a closer look in a second. There's also a smaller insect-like vehicle, which is quite funny. The neck moves up and down, but it's got the suggestion of 6 legs, which I think is pretty charming, and you can fit a minifigure in there and move the antenna around. Again, not terribly effective, as it doesn't roll around, doesn't walk around. You can just kind of slide it around, but it's fun to get a little vehicle and make some of this space usable. And in the front section, we can fit both of our minifigures pretty comfortably. so long as you order them the right way. The Gigabot has to go behind the Zetaxian alien, and there you go. I still think there's plenty of room for 3 or 4 figures because we have this huge section in the back. Section in the back stores another crystal and this very interesting looking device. I wonder what it does. As we go throughout this whole thing, you're probably seeing a load of cool pieces, and yes, we need to highlight those. Let's start out with the crystal. The crystal is really quite interesting. It only appeared in this theme, and you'll notice that there is something on top. That is actually a slightly metallic sticker. And the idea is that a lot of these sets came with magnets, and you can pick them up with magnets. This set actually has a magnet as well, and this is where that spring feature actually comes into play. You can pick up these crystals on the back and carry it around. The other piece that's showing up a lot is this transgreen radar dish on a bar. This set comes with 3 altogether. 2 are built in to the vehicle itself. 1 is in that random accessory in the back. It's not just your typical 2x2 dish at the top. It's actually got some holes in it to make it look more sci-fi, I suppose. There's also a stud in the middle. These are bar sections that you can clip things onto. This piece was actually recolored in blue and used as a shower head in a Belleville dollhouse. So awesome. I imagine that one's quite expensive to get, but these transgreen ones are relatively affordable, about 20 cents used. While we're talking about that accessory, this blue laser gun-like piece is actually exclusive to this set. Not terribly valuable, about 40 cents. Mine's in great shape, and that makes me so happy. There's lots of interesting recolors within this set. One of them is the Transgreen Panel piece here. This is actually only included in 2 sets. The hinge connection is long since discontinued, so we'll never see something quite like that again. That printed windscreen in the back, of course, probably drew your eye. That is exclusive to this set. The eyes are also relatively uncommon, only produced in 4 sets, all of which were insectoid sets, of course. It's a really cool piece in transgreen. Another exclusive piece of the set is actually these large plastic wheels used in the back. They have not been produced since in blue. This is a lot of plastic. It's very classic LEGO. Quite fun in this set, of course. Has 2 of them. These smaller wheels have been included in other sets. The larger leg piece is actually included in 3 other sets. Still quite fun to get. Very, very specialized. The most specialized piece in this set. There's a number of cool connections though here. At that joint, there's actually 4 studs on either side. This build is also filled with all sorts of prints. The only stickers were the magnetized ones on the crystals. We had these 2x2 black tiles with the special Insectoids print on them. We've got a number of control panels, 2 of which are printed on slopes, one a 1x2 slope, another a 2x2 slope, and then there's a 1x2 tile near the back. I should also note that the piece that's on I had never seen before getting this set. It's a super specialized engine piece. There's some really interesting connections. On the back, there's a circular 2x2 anti-studded surface. There's 1 stud on the side. On either side, you can fit a bar all the way through, and there's also a stud on the very tip. It's hollow, so you can also put a bar through there. And then there's a 2x2 studded area on the top as well. Just when you think you have a really good handle on the LEGO parts inventory, they surprise you. It's awesome. Other prints include this 2x3 slope at the front, and also these really useful 1x2 arrow prints that very clearly tell you to open up the middle section like this so you can fit your battery pack in. We definitely need to take a look at this instruction manual because it is beautiful. The inside is pretty much exactly what you'd expect. So in the back, we get some nice color images of it on this really fun terrain set they built, and the legs in action as they go into this divot. It also shows the play feature here in that these crystals stick to the magnet. I wish there was like another bonus page of like all the sets lined up together, but unfortunately there's not. So on the back here, we have some ideas for some alternate builds, which are just so zany and wacky. This thing is so cool. The alternate builds are always so fantastic to look at. Just some weird things. This walker here that walks on the springs, like that would be super fun to play with. Got the wheels way out on the side with the larger leg pieces. Get a little more classic rover here. We get another image of them picking up crystals. I love the imagination, and we don't see that in the sets we get because they're all licensed themes now.
So that's why I think something like this just really captures my eye. And heart, because it has a lot of heart in it.
It's really interesting to note the price on this thing. A new one, understandably, probably going to set you back a lot. When I did my research, it was about $90, probably is just going up. But you can get a used version of this set for $30, like I did. That's less than its recommended retail price back in 1998. So these things are actually pretty easy to come by if you want it. And I think if you like parts and classic sets, and if there's one insectoid set you should get, I think this is the one, because it's not all that expensive and it has all the best parts of what this theme had to offer. While this set doesn't really break any ground when it comes to classic LEGO space sets, I still think it's very successful and very enjoyable, and is certainly one of the strongest insectoid sets that they brought out. Just having this vehicle in front of me kind of gets the creative juices flowing. Like, what other insects could I replicate? Of course, a dragonfly comes to mind. I think that would be really cool to do in this robotic-like style. There's a whole host of insects that would make great candidates for this theme. I wish LEGO would have touched on them, but hey, that's where builders like us can come in and fill in the gaps all this time later. Yeah, if you can find this thing for $30, definitely pick it up. I think you're going to enjoy it and everything that it has to offer, just like I did. That's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed looking at this really unique part of LEGO space history. I'll definitely be back with more. I hesitate to say vintage because this was made in my lifetime, LEGO reviews, but LEGO ages faster than people, right? I don't know. But until then, see you next time.